Hello and welcome to a CBK gaming video. Come and join us as we discuss and review Reichbusters Projekt Vril, a 1 to 4 player cooperative board game by Mythic Games. So, what is Reichbusters Projekt Vril? It is a 1 to 4 player cooperative campaign driven board game where you take on the role of Allied forces fighting the Nazi war machine and the evil occult forces that they have been meddling in. This means that you start the game fighting Nazi soldiers and their officers, or throwing dog biscuits to the dogs to make sure you don't get heard or caught. But you end up fighting zombies and mech-style warriors, and it becomes a much more difficult game. The game itself is split into two sections, the pre-alarm and the post-alarm. Pre-alarm, you are trying to sneak in and keep everything as quiet as you can. Not using any loud weapons, not using grenades for example, but each time you open a door, each time you carry out an action, it will generate noise. Cards determine how many extra dice you may need to roll, what the consequences are. This can attract Nazi patrols. Or it could be very good and you might not be found for a while, which allows you to get closer to that very precious intelligence dossier or that target that you're trying to take out. Post-alarm. The alarm is going off. Everybody knows where you are. They're coming for you. This is where you get to use some of the louder and more powerful weapons. So it is very much a choice as to whether you use your knives, your axes, your suppressed weapons, which are slightly less powerful, or you opt to use that sniper rifle that the Russian Red Hawk has. Or if you're using the Kickstarter expansion, whether you start using the Panzerfaust and blow things up with a powerful rocket. Or do you throw a grenade into that room, which will kill a lot of soldiers and take out some of those zombies, but it will attract a lot of attention. And that is the heart of this game. Those two parts of the game are so different and are great fun planning as you're moving through this map to try and reach that objective and then get out as well. Alongside that, you may have to go and find a scientist. You may have to escort them out. All in all, it is a fun and interesting game. It's done by rolling dice. So you will roll these custom dice. They will determine how many successes you have made. Those successes determine whether you have hit the creature or the soldier that you are shooting at or trying to stab. You can also have an explosion in these dice. So there is a star, a 5-sided star on one of these dice, and that can then allow you to roll another dice. And if you get another star, you can roll another dice, and they can explode. So you can have these very momentous occasions when you are clearing a room and it's in a very heroic manner, and you can visualize from all those old war films that we have all watched where you clear out a room quietly, covertly, or you just kick the door down, spray that sten across the entire room and clear everybody out. It's got that very strong thematic feel to it. But it is very random because you have the dice and the skills are determined by cards, which allow you to add results, allow you to negate certain things. So if you've been shot, if you've been attacked by one of the zombies, you can do away with some of the damage or perhaps prevent all of the damage itself. Each character can only take a certain amount of wounds before it's knocked unconscious. They can actually be captured and you might have to go and try and release them. And overall, what did you think, Karen?
I really liked it. It is partly a puzzle game because it's working together on the best way to move across the map, because when you go into a building, there's many corridors, different rooms, which way do we want to go, and it's sitting down as a team working it out. And then I love the unpredictability of it at times, that you can just go, I'm going to search this crate, and you might get some fantastic items, but you might do it quietly, or you might, as I have done on many an occasion, roll the exploding dice. So they don't just work with sort of defeating the enemy, they work on when you're trying to be quiet as well, and you get that exploding dice, which means you've then got to roll another one, and if you get another exploding, you've got to roll another die, and all of a sudden you realise that opening up this crate, you've knocked the vase over, that's crashed, that's hit something else, and you're just making this huge amount of noise just trying to pick up an item, which it happens, you see it. I mean, it is so thematical with it. You see it in the films, and you can just imagine yourself doing that in this game.
Yes, it's got a very good narrative. I think, for me, a pro to this game is the models are fantastically made. They look good. They're very different. The print quality is very good. The card stock is very good. Yeah. Everything feels like it is good quality. The gameplay is fun, and that's one of the most important things. A game has to be good fun. And I want to play it again and again and see where it goes. However, we need to talk about some of the cons. One of those cons, the rules. The rules are poorly written. There is some mistakes, printing mistakes. For example, in one of the maps that we're playing, it states that there are 12 scientists on the map, but there are only 4 models, and at no point have you ever been told previously that there are more figures on the map than models you have. And in fact, in every single scenario other than that one, there's only 4 scientists. Yeah. And it's little attentions to detail that we have to look for and say, actually, this was missed. Was this really sanity checked? Where was the quality control?
And also the layout of the maps, when you're putting the tiles down, the pictures in the rules are the mirror image of the actual boards. Yes. So you're looking for a board that's got a door opening to the right and a table on here, and then you realise that it's not. The door's at the top. And the
door's in the right place. It's only the table.
Oh, yeah, sorry, the door. But it's the table that's moved, and yeah.
Yes.
It's not a huge thing, but it does just make you stop and think.
These are minor things that just say, it's a bit of a shame and let's move on. The rules, however, could be better. Yeah. And it took us about 3 gameplays before we feel that we got the rules working. And I think it has to be said that we watched some videos to see how other people played it, and you could see they were making mistakes. And I think everybody we watched made some quite severe mistakes in the gameplay that made the game much easier for them. One person we saw made it a lot harder for themselves. Maybe we've got it wrong, but it feels we've always finished with 1 go left or just made it. And that feels where the game should be, not being far too easy.
It feels balanced.
Yes.
Yeah.
The items and the uniqueness of the characters as well. The characters seem good fun, and they seem different enough that they're good fun to play, and I'm looking forward to trying some of the Kickstarter exclusives. The models, I'm looking forward to painting the models. The doors, I think the doors add something. I think they always do on games like this. I like them on Zombicide, for example, and Conan. So it just makes the map feel a bit better.
And the way they've done the doors, there's a difficulty in sort of opening them on how many sound checks you have to do. And they've got the different levels there, but the doors themselves, the models, actually have built into the models how hard they are to do. So there's no
lights at the top of the doors.
There's no trying to reference it back into the rule book. You can see straight away, that's a level 1, that's a level 3.
And you'll see an example of these on the screen now. showing you the different doors that you can get for the game. The one thing I'm always a little bit concerned, especially when you've got a large amount of figures on a board and playing Cthulhu Death May Die, where you couldn't fit everything on the board and it just looked silly, it was too small. This, I thought that might be the case, but it's not. And actually everything fit. At no point did we have too many models. No. And they've managed that quite well. I think that's good, and that was a concern. So does this belong in your collection? Well, if you like cooperative board games, if you like campaign games, yes, I think it fits a nice. It's not a gateway game, just simply because I don't think the rules make it that easy to facilitate someone into enjoying board games. I'd still rather use Black Plague or Green Horde. But it's the sort of game you'd play after that. It's the sort of game that you'd introduce to somebody who's played board games for a bit and you want a bit of fun. The one aspect that I'm a bit disappointed by is I wish that you could have 6 players. Just simply because majority of times our gaming group is 6 players. 4 players, there's a lot of 4-player games out there, but it's always quite nice to have something where we can get everybody around the table. I really like, one of the things I do very much like, and that's on the pre-alarm and the post-alarm. Pre-alarm, you get to choose the order in which you play. Post-alarm, it's randomised, and you can no longer decide who goes first, who does what. There's such a rush on you, that adrenaline hit has kicked in, and now those actions are random. And that can really change the pace and the play of the game. And
the strategy that you've already planned. Yeah.
So I think from both of us, we would say this is a game that belongs in your collection if you enjoy cooperative games. And we do understand that some people don't. If you enjoy campaign games, this fits that bill as well. Whilst you can play as in a campaign, there's also raids that you can go on. Those raids have different groups and different teams, and that sets different skills which you can go in and play as well. And they just mean it's got a little bit more longevity in the gameplay. So overall, this is a good, fun game that we, CBK Gaming, recommend if you enjoy cooperative games. So thank you for watching. I hope our new style of reviewing a game, rather than giving arbitrary numbers, well, they weren't arbitrary to us, but giving an explanation of what the game is and how the game is played, a little bit of an understanding and what we think are the pros and the cons of the game, should give you a better idea of whether this game is for you or not. So, as I say, thank you very much for watching, and we look forward to bringing you more videos every week going forwards. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Bye.